Hello, Oiler Nation, and welcome to Oilers Insider. I'm Tim Montgomery, along with me, Director of Athletics, Jim Givens, where every time we come out, we try to give you an update on all things Oiler athletics going on. And right now, Jim, as if winter wasn't keeping you busy enough, spring's starting to percolate there on the edge a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? It's an exciting time. We had first Division II college baseball game this week. It wasn't us, but it's hard to believe that the spring sports are ready to roll.
We're going to get into more detail on those spring sports, as several of them are getting underway and a couple of them getting ready to go, as you mentioned there. But let's jump in with men's basketball. A split of last week's games has the Oilers 3-3 since last time we were with you here on Oilers Insider. They are 14-8 overall, 8-6 in conference play, sitting fourth in the GMAC standings. And maybe a little bit frustrating for Coach Ernst, but on the positive, Mekhi Elmore continues his hot scoring hand for Findlay, averaging over 20 points a game over the last 6 games. So it's that good news, bad news right now with the men's team.
Yeah, you're right, Tim. Mekhi has been, he's been that one consistent thing that we've had pretty much for the whole year, in that he's able to really be the scoring for our program. In talking with Coach Ernst, and I do a lot, obviously, he is frustrated, and it's just a matter of consistency with Coach. Discipline, effort. That has always been a big part of our men's basketball program, and at times we seem to play with not a lot of either, and I think that's where the inconsistency comes from. But I have confidence in Coach and his staff and our student athletes. They're going to make a run here, I'm sure. Our schedule certainly doesn't get any easier after this upcoming week, or after this week. So hopefully they're ready.
Yeah, it seems like when they can get those compliments to Mekhi, it's a good day for the Oilers. When they can't, not so much. Well, let's transition to somebody who's got things going full tilt ahead. 6 in a row on the women's side. They also are moving up in a tie for 4th place in the GMAC standings. They're going to return home since last we've been here. Ursuline on Thursday, then Tiffin on Saturday. And talk about getting those complimentary performances. Alyssa Zeeler has been that constant. How about Mackenzie Scholes? 14.5 points, 4.5 rebounds a game over this recent streak.
Yeah, those two certainly have been a bright spot for Coach Duran, and I know she's very pleased with how they're playing. I think she's very pleased with how they're coming around as a whole. I think you're starting to see a couple of our student athletes mature into roles, and it's been great. If you look at Oriah and Ella, they're getting a lot of minutes now, and really it's paying good dividends. So I think that good things are to come. I'm not going to say what I want to say in terms of these next 2 games because I don't want to jinx it, but our women's program is definitely on a roll, and it's going to take that to get through the rest of the year.
As the kids say, trending. They're trending.
Right now,
which is a good thing.
Yes.
Wrestling continues to ramp up for the postseason. In that process, a win over another ranked opponent in Indy. Then 2 days later, what a match with McKendree. Unfortunately, the Oilers come up on the short end, and then dominating over Davenport. Most recently, the GMAC championships were held. The Oilers finished 3rd in close fashion behind Ashland, who was in 1st, Tiffin, who was 2nd. The Oilers crowned a couple of individual champions in Nate Knowlton and Ashton Anderson. And I think the thing, if I was coach, that would make me most excited is they're going to get another crack at both Ashland and Tiffin here in the near future.
Yeah, they sure are. And Coach Nelson, he's been here for 28 years, is about the same as I have been. And the last couple have been probably 2 of his worst seasons as a head coach, and that's saying a lot. They are a perennial power in not only our league but in our region. So he certainly does not like to lose to Ashland and or Tiffin in any season. But going back, the McKendree match, I was here for that. One of the better wrestling matches that I've seen here since I've been here. Came down to that last weight class, and it was an exciting match. And Coach he was disappointed, but I think he's got the guys rolling, and I'm looking for big things coming down the stretch here for them as well.
A little bit later on, in our deeper dive, we're going to discuss the Super Regional, which is going to be hosted here at Findlay, and all the things that go into that. Swimming finished off the regular season, sweeping Wayne State at home. A few weeks away from the GMAC/Mountain East Championship. That'll be February 10th through the 13th. Some individual recognition. Camilo Marugo and Emily Mears-Bentley were recognized as Athletes of the Week on the swimming side a couple weeks ago. And the Oilers also just went ahead and claimed a GMAC championship in the process as well. So I guess the short term is the beat goes on for the swimmers.
Yeah, that's a program that, Diego is continuing on the dominance that we've had within our conference and in our region. We have certainly moved up the ranks. You can almost bank that when it comes to the national championship in that time of year, we're going to have 8 to 10 kids that are at least going to represent us as an institution, and that's always very fun to watch, especially when in Indy. Great facility, great people, but yeah, our men's and women's swimming program is they are one to watch, and we're excited about them.
All right, well, that's going to bring us to our first break. Coming up, we're going to discuss those upcoming spring sports and the prep that's going into things when we return for Oilers Insider.
The environmental health, safety, and sustainability field is growing rapidly, with opportunities in safety, environmental protection, sustainability, policy, worker safety, public health, and emergency response. EHSS graduates from the University of Findlay have gone on to work for Fortune 500 companies across the United States, along with federal and local agencies to assist and lead in compliance, training, mitigation strategies, and innovative sustainability achievements. If you want to make a difference in the environment or any of these areas, this program will give you the knowledge, network, and opportunities to do so. Learn how you can be the voice for change in an evolving and critical industry by visiting findlay.edu/EHSS or UFindlayEHSS on Instagram.
Welcome back to Oilers Insider. I'm Tim Montgomery, along with me, Director of Athletics, Jim Givens. Earlier, we kind of teased spring sports are coming up, and we're in that kind of crossover transition period as we can see the postseason for winter coming and the beginnings of spring going. Let's start with track and field. They've been actually pretty busy. Indoor track, they hosted the Findlay Alumni Classic back on January 16th. That led to KJ Upshaw being named GMAC Athlete of the Week. And then on the 23rd, Oilers impressed at Hillsdale. At least I was impressed. 19 first place finishes, 10 national qualifying marks, and several other strong performances here this past weekend at Penn State. And then they got a couple of, they're going to split the squad, so to speak, this coming weekend, send some people to Ann Arbor and the University of Michigan, and then Ashland as well. A lot of good things going on with track to get the things started.
Yeah, I tell you, the biggest task that we have with our men's and women's track and field program is keeping track of where the heck they're at.
Oh, track what you did there. Okay.
Yeah, you got that. But they are just like our swimming program. They are perennials in the postseason, and we are really proud of what they do. I don't think most people really realize the amount of time, the amount of effort, the amount of work that they put in each and every day to prepare for these meets. Obviously with there being specialties in that sport, it becomes even more intriguing to me, at least, and especially to see how they train, because it's not, they just don't go in and jump or throw or run. There's so much more to it, and our guys and Coach Kraut and his staff do a tremendous tremendous job leading that program, and we certainly look for big things for them.
Well, I know you're getting excited because baseball is on the horizon, and that means softball's on the horizon as well. They're both going to be off on their preseason trips here before too long. Coaches' poll results have come in. Baseball projected 4th in the North Division, where Northwood is the favorite. Then the baseball team will be heading to North Carolina here in just, 2 weeks, I think? To get things going there. Softball, who does not divide North and South, they're picked 2nd in the GMAC behind the Tiffin Dragons, and they'll be headed to West Virginia here before too long to get things going. But I think there's a lot of opportunity for both baseball and softball this season. Yeah,
baseball, they improved last year. Our goal every year is to make it to the GMAC tournament. Going down to Cincinnati, it's just an unbelievable venue, and if you haven't been there, I really recommend you going to that tournament. It is very well run, and it's actually the same for our softball tournament in Firestone Park in Akron. That's a new venue for us. This will be the 3rd year. This will mark the 3rd year of that tournament. Hopefully our women can get there. Being picked 2nd, we haven't been picked 2nd, I don't think, since I've been here. So that's a tribute to, or a testament to, the hard work that the girls and Coach Lau and her staff have put into things. And I know that both baseball and softball have been working really hard, and they are anticipating being very, very competitive, and they'll get a good taste, both teams, early on in their early season with great non-conference games scheduled.
Also wanted to mention tennis got underway on both the men's and women's side. The women's are ranked here in the preseason, but both had dominating wins. Men 6-1, women 7-0 over Illinois Springfield. Yeah,
I was there for the both matches, and I'm telling you, if you have not gone out and seen these college student athletes participate, I highly recommend that you do so, because it is a very, very high level, much higher than when I started. It's no longer that recreation sport here. It is a full-blown, they are getting after it. They work extremely hard. Coach Westmeyer does an absolute wonderful job, and we are competing at the highest level that we have ever competed at. And it was to dominate like they dominated both the men and the women this past weekend. I'm not going to say it was a surprise. I think they expect to do that every week, but they traditionally are a very, very good program. So really proud on how both the men and the women competed this week.
And bringing up tennis, that gives me an opportunity to talk about one of my favorite things, and that's community involvement. The teams just recently did another one of their tennis clinics for individuals with special needs. It was well attended. It was exceptionally well run, and I have a vested interest in that, and can't tell you how much I appreciate, A, that it exists, but B, the love and compassion that our athletes put into that event.
Yeah, I feel like that is, there are a couple of events every year that our student athletes talk about, and when they talk about it, the smiles come on their face, and which is really important. This tennis event and obviously the Miracle League that are two of the events that our student athletes just love to do. We never really have to ask anybody to help us with that. They volunteer because they love it, and they love to work with the kids, and it's a special time for everybody, and certainly our kids get just as much out of it as those that are participating in the event. So yeah, very proud of our kids for how they handle those events.
And you talk about that, and we've talked about Coach Johns coming in, and he already has it on his plan to add a victory day with football and cheerleading this summer. So excited about that opportunity along those same lines. Get back to spring sports in general. Let's talk a little bit about getting things going. As you talked about, track team is always someplace. Tennis is now getting going. Talk about the logistics involved this time, because again, you still have events going on here, but you also got to take care of those events that are out on the road as well.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that people really don't realize, and it's something that I'm probably more proud than anything, is how our staff handles these times of the year. We only have a couple of times where there's overlap, and certainly at the University of Findlay, expectation is that we make postseason in all of our programs. Well, when we do that, in particular when we host, it creates some more, I'll call it fun, in that we have to solicit for maybe a couple of other people on campus that have an affinity for athletics and are willing to help. We only have so many people on staff, so it takes a lot to host events. It takes a lot to be able, even for me, just to go away, maybe to a spring trip to go watch 4 or 5 baseball games or softball games. If we're hosting here, that's really tough for me to do. Now, we've done it, but it's only because we have a tremendous staff. You know, I'm very, very fortunate to work with who I work with. And certainly the success that we have creates, I'm not going to call them problems, but challenges for us. But man, they're fun. Especially when we win. But for us to be able to have the success that we do, to host events that we do, again, is a testament to the hard work of everybody involved.
Well, I think it's people, but it's also facilities. I mean, when you talk about hosting especially conference and national events or even regional events, if we didn't have the facilities to go along with those great people, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, you're 100%. We couldn't have 2 basketball games and 660 wrestlers competing in the Kaler Center at one time. So we are very, very fortunate here. Very fortunate.
Yeah, to your point, that's a doubleheader Ashland here in Niekamp Arena that same day that's going on there.
Yeah.
And again, your staff is very effective, but they're small. But again, as you point out, you're able to reach out to the campus community, other athletes, other teams. And I know the conference and the NCAA, they're also involved with that as well.
That is correct. That is correct. Very fortunate.
Absolutely, very fortunate indeed. Well, before we wrap things up, so go ahead and take a look at the schedule and all those things coming up. As we said, men's and women's basketball returns home. Women against Ursuline on the 5th, and then both the men and women on the 7th against Tiffin. Wrestling is going to head off to Tiffin, as we talked about, on the 6th, and then return home on the 8th to take on Ashland in those sort of rematch from the conference tournament that we just talked about. Track and field, as we said, will be at split events, heading to the Michigan Invite in Ann Arbor. Part of the squad will. The others head to Ashland for the Judd Logan Light Giver Invitational. And that's a great event. I know a lot of people are going to say, ooh, going to Michigan, but that Ashland event is a big one.
No, yeah, that's something that we've gone to for many years, well, since Coach Logan passed. You know, he was an outstanding man and an outstanding coach. So we're happy to go to that event every year, and it's a close trip for us, so our student athletes don't have to travel quite as far for that.
And as Jim said, there's a lot to keep track of in that. Remember, you can track all Oiler athletics on FindlayOilers.com as Kyle and Meredith keep you updated on everything going on in every sport all the time. So that's going to wrap up this edition of Oilers Insider. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate your time as always.
Go Oilers.
Go Oilers. And we'll see you next time here on Oilers Insider.